Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm out on Lake Chickamauga. It is mid-November. I've only been out a couple times since the season ended. I mean, since July. I've only been out maybe 3 days so far. So don't really have a lot of experience on what's going on, especially in this end of the river. I'm kind of on the northern side of the lake and don't get to fish up here very often. But this time of year, it's very, very predictable. This is the time of year, you know, from November into December, you've got a lot of shad up shallow on the backs of these creeks, and this bait right here is my go-to. That right there, the Z-Man minnows and a little jig head. This is the Finesse Eyes jig head. It is a really, really good jig head. Looks real realistic, and this is just a killer. So let's get out, do a little bit of fishing. This is a pattern that I know is happening right now. It happens every single year. So let's see if anything's changed. I don't think it has. What we've got here is we've got this little pocket here. Of course, you can see the water's way down. Fall drawdown on Chickamauga is relatively substantial when you consider the other TVA lakes. And so we've got this backwater here. It's really shallow. We're only in 2 foot of water right here, and we've got a bunch of shad back here, and you got a lot of little fish, and I see some bigger fish back here too, but you know, that's a really tiny one. But they're feeding on little tiny shad. They're about the same size as this minnows right here. But you know, this is my favorite pattern this time of year, is just running these pockets. Once you start seeing the shad flicker, which I see just a bunch of shad flickering right here, and once you start seeing the fish start blowing up on these shad and pushing them into the real skinny water, you've got an area you can catch fish. I mean, I pretty much guarantee you can catch fish if you see them pushing. But I've tried so many different techniques. Tried chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, small lipless crankbaits, all kinds of stuff, and the best thing is this little minnows. And this is the pearl blue glimmer color. That's my absolute favorite out of here on Chick and other TVA lakes. Just looks real realistic to these fish, feeding on those tiny shad. I mean, during no time of the year is it more important to match the hatch than in the fall. I've seen another little one. Actually, before I started filming, I caught a actually pretty nice one, about a 2.5 pounder. I mean, not a giant, but a nice chunky fish. The biggest thing is just keeping the swim bait moving at a pretty regular slow pace, and you know, figure out exactly what speed the fish want. You know, sometimes they want it a little bit faster, and a lot of times I like to add a little bit of shake to the rod tip, just like that. Catch them that way. Look how fat this little guy is. I mean, just a dink fest, but we'll get into some bigger fish sooner or later. But man, he is perfect example of feeding up for the winter. Man, just a bunch of dinks back here. I'm gonna have to move on. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted to see. That actually may be the same fish I just caught a little bit ago. Check this out. He just spit out this beautiful example of why this minnows is just so deadly. Look at that thing. Look at that comparison. I mean, that's about as perfect of matching the hatch as you can get. That's why they eat it so well. Now my hand's gonna smell like shad for the rest of the day. Let's go find a better spot, some bigger fish. little bit better fish. Not a big one, but caught on the active target. All right, so that cast right there. Usually when you get a bite, you need to make another presentation there. That's why the power poles are so important, man. You got to keep track of where you're at. Casting angles. Fish. Oh my gosh. Pink fest. Man, I have had a blast. I mean, it's just cool because I haven't been out fishing but a couple days since the season ended, and man, I know that I could come out during this time period, all the way from you know, November through December, and even into January. I've caught them, you know, doing this. But any time during that period, man, I could come out here with this bait, this one setup, and just have a blast catching fish. Let's see if we can find some greener pastures. All right, so the great thing about this pattern this time of year in the fall, you know, and also in early winter with the small swim bait is the fact that you really don't have to look that hard to find these fish. You know, if you go into pick any creek or major bay in one of these lakes, it could be like Chickamauga, you know, Watts Bar, Gunnersville. Pick a creek and go to the backs of those creeks until you find those big balls of shad. They're going to be there. This is the time of year that they really get grouped up, especially on Lake Chickamauga. And all you have to do is, you know, pick a creek, say this creek right here. I haven't fished here in a while, and especially not this time of year. I'm usually down on the southern end of the lake, but now that I'm up in the Dayton area, you know, I'm going to be fishing a lot of these. But this is a perfect example. Just go to the backs of these creeks, all the way to the back, and you'll start seeing shad. I guarantee you'll start seeing shad. Just look for those. And really, I think the water will probably be right here. This will be all dry, and then right here is where it starts. But those fish are going to be ganged up there, and just look for the fish pushing on the surface. It's that easy. Just go around to the backs of these creeks, look around until you find the bait fish and the bass schooling activity. And that's pretty much it. It's a really simple, easy pattern to be able to start catching fish. Fish. Slightly better. Oh, it's not even a bass. Look at this. Skipjack. Man, I've been catching a bunch of these in the last 2 days. So many skipjack. It's great. These things are Tennessee tarpon is what I've heard people call them. They look just like tarpon too. That's a big one. Man, I bet there's some 10+ pounders that are eating those somewhere on this lake. Probably should be throwing a big old glide bait instead of this little swim bait, but this little swim bait is too much fun. Man, another skipjack. Gosh, these are big. Oh my gosh. These are cool fish. Look at the size of him. He definitely looks like a tarpon. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. First time I've really caught him like this.
together. That's not a bad one. Nice and fun. Man, right here on the main river. I mean, that's pretty classic too, you know, when you got these shallow backwaters, to find them, you know, on the drawdown out here right on the main river. And I mean, there's a bunch of skipjack, there's definitely a bunch of shad, so it doesn't really surprise me. I'm gonna put anchor mode on. Make a few casts here. Oh, another bite. There might be a boatload of fish here. Sometimes when you catch one, there is a bunch around. There he is. What are you? That's a bass. Another good one. Another good one. Right on. That is so much fun. Yeah, we've got a group of fish here hanging out right here on this little shallow point. Love it. Man, they are crushing that swim bait. Guy. Well, he wanted it. He wanted it. Oh, there he is. Gosh, I love it when you can find them like this. That's skipjack. That's skipjack. My goodness, man. These are cool fish. Man, they are just like tarpon. Look at that fish. They are pretty too. I don't think that they have anything that can really slice you. I'm a little bit wary of the gill plate, to be honest. This is so much fun, man. Oh my goodness. This is a good fish. If I can get it on the boat, you guys gotta see this thing. Oh no. There we go. Every bit of 4.25. That was so much fun. I told you, you can catch big fish on this little swim bait. In fact, I've caught a lot of my best bags this time of year on a little swim bait. Check that guy out. That is a chunk. So cool, man. All right, let that baby go. All right. See you, girl. Man, that is so fun. That's why you either put the power poles down or put your trolling motor on anchor mode and make multiple casts. You know, I've just been working each side of this opening, this cut, and there's
definitely a lot of fish here. That was cool. That was really cool. Come on, baby. Oh, this is the cast right here. Oh my goodness. See that? What did I tell you? That's a good one too. Be a dummy and boat flip him. Oh my goodness. He's fatter than I thought he was. Another 2.5 pounder. Man, this is so much fun. But I tell you, this is one of the best ways to catch these fish. Incredible. I love catching them on the minnows. My goodness. And I haven't had to switch to a different minnows the entire time I've been out here today. You can't tell me that this isn't a superior little swim bait.
All right, so let's go over the tackle real quick for this technique. I've gone over it a lot in different videos, so if you've watched this, I apologize. I'm just going to be going over the same thing I've talked about every single time I talk about this minnows. But let's go over for those that haven't seen those videos, that haven't watched previous videos on the minnows. First off, let's start with the bait itself. Of course, we've got the Z-Man minnows. This is the pearl blue glimmer color. This is really the only color that I throw out here on Chick. It fits the watercolor perfect. The fish seem to like it, but you know, obviously choose a color that works for the watercolor you're dealing with, whatever lake you're fishing, because this is going to work everywhere. Anywhere that those fish are really keying in on small bait fish and are really difficult to catch with other presentations like regular size spinner baits, you know, swim jigs, things of that sort. This is going to be a bait that's going to catch them. Today, the only thing that's different from you know, past videos when it comes to breaking down the tackle here is the fact that I'm using a different jig head. This right here is the new finesse size jig head from Z-Man. This is the 1/8 ounce version with the smaller hook, and I really like it because it's much more realistic than some of the other jig heads I use. I've always used the Headlocks HD, which has been a great swim bait hook. And the only reason I've switched to this one is because it's got the stable track head that keeps it nice and level in the water, has the great realistic eyes, good paint job that matches the bait itself, and it's got that light wire hook, which I really like for using with the light line. The only thing that I'll say that the Headlocks HD does better is if you're trying to even have a smaller presentation, the unpainted heads on the Headlocks HD actually gives the bait the appearance of having a smaller profile, because it kind of looks a little less visible than the paint job. So the paint job is realistic, but it adds a little bit of length to it, just visually. So I feel like if I'm targeting fish that are feeding on smaller bait fish than this right here, this package, I'm either going to cut down the Elastec a little bit and put it on the finesse eyes, or use the Headlocks HD. Both of them work really well. I've caught a ton on the Headlocks HD, so I can't complain about it, but I really like the look of the finesse eyes. As far as the line that I'm using about a 6-foot fluorocarbon leader. This is a 10-pound test Seagar Gold Label. That's the line that I like to use on all my spinning gear as far as leaders. And then I have attached this leader material to 20-pound Seagar Smackdown braid, the high vis, the green flash color. This right here is just my traditional spinning rod setup. Pretty much all my spinning rods have that main line of the 20-pound braid. And then as far as the rod goes, I love the 610 medium heavy Versa series from Fitzgerald. This is my favorite by far for throwing this bait. Sometimes if I'm really trying to get a further further cast, I might go to, you know, like a 7.2 or something like that. But the 610 medium heavy just feels right in my hand. It feels right with this technique, so that's what I'm using with it. And then of course I'm using the S4000 stunner reel from Fitzgerald. I like the S4000 for pretty much everything I do. It doesn't matter if it's a, you know, finesse tactic or more of a power fishing tactic with spinning gear. The S4000 is just a reel that I like. It's got a bigger spool on it and so on and so forth. So that is the setup that I use for throwing the minnows. It is a really special technique. That's why I've done so many videos on it. So I apologize if it's just, you know, beating a dead horse, but as you can see, it works. It catches fish. Anytime that those fish are focused on those small, tiny bait fish, that's the bait that I really tend to pick up the most. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, comment below. And of course, you know, if you do enjoy these videos, support my channel by subscribing and liking this video. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you out in the water. Take care.